Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Ange. Ange, today we got a good one.
What is it?
They're all good.
Of course they are.
Now, Florida, say you live in Jersey or someplace, California, wherever, okay? And you want to live off the grid, okay? You have to pick one place in the United States, okay? I know there's places world, but we're talking about the United States, that you want to live off the grid. Is Florida the best state to come to and live off the grid? That's what we're going to talk about today.
Now, when you're saying off the grid, you mean totally self-sustained, like you're not tied into the local electric or the local plumbing or the local sewer systems?
let's talk about that. Like,
Okay.
Say you want to disappear.
Okay.
I can imagine the people that are going to be watching this, the people that are going to be Googling these words, they're like, how do I disappear?
Cops are going to be at their front door.
They're like, yeah,
Who are you killing off?
we're gonna have all these people that want to disappear now coming to Florida.
Oh, God. That's could happen.
It could happen, but that's what we're talking about. Like people like, if you're from Wyoming, because I lived in Wyoming, you disappear there. It's like, yeah, you freeze your butt off in the winter. You wouldn't survive one winter.
No, if you're going to survive there, you better be like Grizzly Adams. You better know your stuff. You better be a serious outdoorsman.
Like I watched some TV shows that people was pretty much living off the grid in Alaska.
I know. I've seen those, and that's just like total insanity.
Like I would last probably 6 hours, living off the grid in Alaska in the cold.
I wouldn't even last getting on the plane.
And if the authorities were looking for me, I would be turning myself in and say, this is where you find me. Bring me a warm squad car that I can sit in. But let's talk about this, because maybe Florida is the perfect place.
Florida, you pretty much could, because like it's warm. And it's warm all year round. Now, we do get those nights where it goes down and cold, but you could build a fire.
But we're going to give out, we're going to give a lot of reasons why Florida might be the thing, but I have to give some reasons why it's not too. So,
there definitely are a few. I'll agree with that.
That we have to talk about. In the meantime, do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss the future videos. All right. The first thing, because you brought it up, I'll just bring it up again, is abundant sunshine. We have nice weather. Even like last night, we went out. We went out to a party. It was outside, and it was 40s and 50s, and I was freezing.
Yeah,
but
it's been cold the last 2 to 3 weeks at night here.
But I guess if, as a survivalist prepper that say you want to live off the grid, I guess 40, 50 degrees is
nothing.
It's not the end of the world.
No.
Maybe it is for me, but
yeah, I mean, right now it's 72 right now, and we're in the sun, and we were just complaining before that we were kind of getting too hot in the sun.
Yeah, and it's December.
Yeah, exactly.
Christmas is around the corner. All right, so that's a big benefit. Here's another benefit. Rainwater collection. Okay, it rains enough in Florida that you can set up barrels. I guess that's a big thing.
Oh yeah, you can collect the rain, for drinking water But the other thing too is we have a lot of freshwater springs here.
Yeah, but how hard? I mean, you don't like if I put you in the woods and you had to live off the grid, that you don't want somebody finding you. Are you going to know how to find a spring?
Now,
are you going to get one of those? Are you going to get one of those dowels things and you walk around until they bend towards each other?
Now this is kind of funny that you should ask me that. I did the show Naked and Afraid for 144 episodes. Not meaning on it, I put it together. And I learned so much because we would drop those people off in the middle of nowhere. And how to find water is number one always. It's shelter and water, the two things you need. And I know how to find water anywhere.
So that's why this video is about real estate, how to find shelter and water.
Yeah, two things you need. Water is actually very easy to find. You just got to dig a hole, and you don't have to dig a big hole. It could be a narrow hole, but you just got to dig down like maybe a foot or 2 or 3, and then the odds are you're going to hit water. Now the problem is it's going to be dirty, muddy water. So it's like, do you cook? Start the fire to cook.
See, right there, I wouldn't survive. Yeah. Just that. Okay, so basically, we talked about the weather. Okay, mild winters. Even, no matter where you are.
Yeah, I put it this way, it was snowing in upstate New York and Michigan and, all those other places. And look at us here. It's in the 70s and sunny. We're in shorts and T-shirts.
All right, what about this one? If you're living off the grid, okay, that you can't really do in northern states in the winter is basically fertile soil, gardening, and farming. Like, it's freaking frozen up there.
You have an orange tree, I believe it's right over there, and it's December, and there's oranges. You have some on the floor that fell from the tree. So you could get fruits, you could get avocados.
You can grow things all year round here.
You can grow tomatoes, cucumbers.
So that's a really big benefit of living in
definitely
off the grid in Florida.
Yeah.
All right, this is the freshwater sources, access to springs, rivers, and lakes.
Forget it. That's all of Florida. You know what I'm saying? So like up north, well, I don't want to say north, but going north from here by me, like Weeki Wachee Springs. They have the freshwater spring. And
you can probably drink that. I'm not saying you could. Don't go out there.
Don't go drinking it.
Don't go drink it. But
might give you the runs. But
if you're out, if you're out trying to survive and you really needed water, I guess a spring.
Well, if you built a fire and you got that spring water, you could boil it.
But we're not telling anybody to do that either.
But they're all you can do it. It's like especially if you had a mountain and you see like when you're in Kentucky and West Virginia, you got the water coming down the mountain. It's normally fresh water.
Yeah. Actually, when I lived in Wyoming, we used to have a snow melt off of the mountain, or Colorado too, and I collected the water and I drank it all the time because it was fresh snow melting into.
And that's like drinking crystal.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable how it tastes.
It's not I lived up in a place called Bailey, Colorado, and the snow caps over there, and the snow would run and it would just drip.
I was in Vail once for 3 days, and I remember I never wanted to get out of the shower. The water was like silk. It was, and I said to the people in the hotel, "What's with the water?" And they said, "Welcome to Vail, Colorado." It was unbelievable.
This one is a big one because I could probably survive for a very long time because I'm a fisherman. But fishing opportunities, abundant coastal and inland fishing spots. If you know how to fish, I like artificials. I don't even need bait. I mean, I literally could go out there with one artificial. Okay, I'm kind of patting myself on the shoulder, but catch one fish, make that into bait, get a bigger fish, and I could pretty much constantly catch fish because I know where to look and how to get to them.
Well, you could, and there are a lot of like I saw not too far from you. You have a big lake over here. I don't know if there's actual fish in it, but I've seen.
I wouldn't eat anything in there,
but I've seen people fishing in it.
Yeah, I don't know why they fish there. There's like mudfish, which is like catfish, and and smallmouth bass.
Because that lake or pond must lead underground to something else.
Yeah, but that water's
like
disgusting.
What about the water behind us?
Yeah, over here it's smallmouth bass here, but there's also alligators in there. And
there's gators in there too?
Oh yeah, huge gators in there, and moccasins.
Oh.
Yeah, snakes.
I didn't know that. Moccasins, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you could eat snake too, right? So if you caught that, you could eat that, right? A moccasin, could you? They say it tastes like chicken.
Yeah, don't go near snakes like that. Okay, well, fishing opportunity. Remember the old saying, "Teach somebody," from Jesus, I guess.
No, you're correct. I'm trying to remember.
Teach somebody, give somebody a fish, feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, feed him for life.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, wildlife and hunting, game deer like wild boar, small game, all that. Like over here. I had deer in my backyard. I had bobcats literally right behind me.
You have a video of it.
Yeah, right behind me, pretty much just staring at me. Not that I'm going to eat a bobcat, but there's wild pigs in the area. There's a little further north about you. There's bears.
Yeah, we had a bear in our development walking around. Little guy, little black bear.
All right, what about this one? Renewable energies, like. You go hook up a solar panel. You don't have to worry about snow covering.
I don't have solar, but I've seen people. A lot of people here do have solar, and why not? The sun's out all the time. But if you're out camping or something, and you have a generator, a solar generator or a solar radio or any solar, like we could set a solar panel up right here and definitely power something because the sun is literally just coming down on us.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm not a big fan of solar panels on roofs, and I did a whole video on that, so check that out, but
I'm not either. That's why I don't have it.
I would never put a solar panel on the roof, but there's a lot of reasons. Watch that video, but yeah, for living off the grid, hooking up a solar panel just for stuff. I mean, that's
Well, look at this way. If you know what the Starlink is, the Elon Musk internet. So I have a friend who travels the country in his RV with his wife, and he has there's a mobile Starlink. I think he pays like $60 a month for it, so he can get internet. It's basically he can watch streaming television no matter where he is, and he takes that solar panel, which is probably about yay big, and he just puts it outside, and it collects energy so that it can run, but it also then shoots to the satellite to get to the signal, and it works perfectly. And he used to try to do all these other things, and that worked great. So I believe it.
So here's another thing too on a prepper's side of it, because I was Googling and going to Facebook groups. There's active off-grid preppers communities in Florida.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I don't know of any or seen any, but
no. But if you
big.
search preppers online, Facebook, Google, there's chat groups. I didn't realize how big preppers are.
Well, it probably is big in Florida, because if you listen to the local radio stations, you always hear those commercials for you could buy that food last for 25 years, which is like the prepper food. Get the buckets for $45, and the meals will last. They're pre-packaged, and they'll last for 25 years.
Yeah, but that food's good for any state. It doesn't matter.
No, but think about it though. You're not going to add a lot of people aren't going to get these commercials. Like, you would never hear them in New York City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So out here, you're going to hear more.
Yeah, because if something big happened in New York City, just the city would be gone.
Yeah. So it's like, so it is kind of, I would think it. And how much of Florida is uninhabited, meaning like there's nothing built there and stuff like that. So there's probably, and these preppers probably own some land that they keep vacant so that they can go do their whatever it is.
Here's the biggest thing too, is basically, you said it before, food and shelter, okay? So self-sustained crops, year-round growing season for vegetation, fruit trees, and all that stuff. You do have that here.
Yeah. And a lot. Like, most people on their property, like the orange trees or whatever, they're not exactly oranges, I think. Maybe they're like tangerines or something like that. But and grapefruits, they're pretty much everywhere. Everyone has at least one or two.
Yeah, but the whole thing too, like me, I want to grow like vegetables, tomatoes, but I got too much wildlife, and they come.
Yeah, they would eat it and destroy it. You'd actually attract them.
Yeah. So basically, what about this one? Okay, homestead laws, legal framework for personal homesteading is in some counties. So basically, some of them are more lenient. If you say you do want to set up, you buy a piece of land, they allow you to live off of it.
Like, you could put a tent on it or a trailer, that kind
depending.
of thing?
I think some states, they have a lot more restrictions than other states.
Yeah, well, I read think would be where the land was also.
Yeah, but I read that Florida has some pretty good...
Homestead Acts, I guess?
Yeah, Homestead Acts.
Okay, I could see it. Because let's be honest here. Florida is still, behind in the times in a lot of places. As you go up north, it becomes like, the 60s and the 50s.
What about this one? Natural building materials available, like timber, clay, limestone.
A lot of timber around, a lot of trees, definitely a lot of trees.
So if you buy a piece of land, you pretty much build a house or shelter right off of the vegetation of that land.
Probably. You could build a mini log cabin or something because of all the trees.
Here's a big reason why a lot of people move into Florida to live off the grid, according to this article. Low-cost land, affordable rural land in certain areas. Florida, everybody says Florida's packed. It's the East Coast and West Coast. That's where everybody's going. And it's, yes, it is crowded. But if you drive down the middle, and I'm not talking about Orlando, I'm not talking about the I-4 corridor, but if you drive in a lot of parts of Florida, you'll go miles, and all you'll see is forest or land.
Vacant land, that's what I'm saying.
Vacant land. There's so much available land in Florida. If you did a search saying, I want to buy 5 acres of land in the middle of nowhere in Florida, I guarantee you're going to be surprised how affordable it is.
Oh, it'll just a couple of $1,000s.
Here's another thing, if you want to live that's really good, off the grid, what you could do in Florida is tiny homes, container homes, RVs are allowed in rural zones.
Well, now they have, have you seen that tiny home that Amazon was selling? Like they're selling, it's like a 1-bedroom. It's almost like, I don't want to say a studio apartment, but it's like between $10,000 and $15,000. Kind of like the thing Elon Musk was doing too, building a tiny home. And Amazon, you go on Amazon, they have it, and it's very modern looking. And yeah, if you bought a half an acre or an acre, you could put that on.
In certain areas, you have to get zoning, but in rural, you have a better chance of buying it off the grid and rural, get it, as long as you get it in there. Like over here, if I tried to put a tiny home in my backyard just to have like a little tiny home back here.
Oh, they'd shut you down.
Yeah, they'd be all over me in 2 seconds.
Yeah, you probably couldn't even put up one of those little shacks where you go to like Lowe's or Home Depot.
I can't even keep a boat outside the house.
Yeah, that's...
Better yet, you can't even park your car overnight on the street.
Yeah, it's a lot of places around here.
Here's another thing why that's really cool about Florida, and this is true for a lot of places, but natural wind power opportunities for small-scale energy on coastal areas.
Well,
if you have running water, streams.
Yeah, I mean, there's no wind right here now, but I know if you go out on the Gulf, it's breezy.
Yeah.
Or if you're against the water, you're against
So let's run through some. Okay, so that's why Florida is a really good place to live off the grid. But let's talk about some other risks too. Hurricane threats, obviously.
Oh, huge.
Okay, you get it.
And it's not that you can pick a place that say, I'm safe.
There is no safe place in Florida.
Yeah, the whole state.
Okay, a lot of these rural areas, even though you're inland or something, they flood.
Well, yeah, some of them flood because Florida's actually pretty hilly. Like, it's not hills like giant mountains, but it's unlevel.
Yeah,
and you could be in a place where all the rain could come down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's people that haven't flooded in years, and all of a sudden they're flooding because of rain.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another thing too that you might be like, I'm not living off the grid. Okay, heat and humidity. Imagine living in the woods in 100-degree heat with 100% humidity.
Oh, forget it. Yeah, and it's like, we complain and we got air conditioning and we come out here, we're like, I can't take this.
Yeah, but living off the grid, you know how much power you need to run an air conditioner?
Oh, forget. Yeah, you need a lot. You couldn't even do solar to get it up and running.
And living off the grid in Florida, here's another big one problem, okay? Mosquitoes and pests, bug infestations makes outdoor living difficult.
Yeah, I haven't, put it this way, the bugs haven't been that bad.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, we get treated here, okay? Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there was a plane buzzing right over my house.
Yep, 10 o'clock at night.
And I'm like, what are they doing? And they're flying low.
Yeah, I know. They did it in my neighborhood about a month ago.
And I'm like, what? I saw it on Facebook, and everybody was complaining. It's like, what the hell are they doing? Like,
they're buzzing.
They were spraying for some mosquito thing.
Yeah, but the thing is that they don't even tell you they're doing it. They just do it.
Yeah, and they're making like Super 8s, and they're flying. I'm like, this guy could have crashed or what?
I came out, it was around 9:30. It was a couple of weeks ago. I took my dog out at 9:30. And I heard the plane, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I literally thought a plane was coming down to crash, because that's how loud it was.
Yeah.
And then I saw this, like, B-52 bomber kind of plane. I swear to God, if I would have thrown a rock, I think I would have hit it. And I was like, and I was waiting. I was watching the way it flew, and I was like, oh my God, that thing's gonna crash. And nothing happened. So I went back in the house, and the next day I was on Facebook and I saw all the people writing, like, what was that? And then someone said they were spraying for bugs.
Yeah, but if you're living in off the grid, they're not going to go, oh, Angie's living in the middle of the woods.
Let's go spray.
Let's go spray and take care of him. That's not going to happen. So there's zoning laws too. Some areas, they restrict collecting even rainwater, strict land use. There is zones that you might be living off the grid, but there's restrictions on what you can do. Some of them, water rights. In some areas, rainwater collection is restricted in some areas. I did not know that the water's falling from the sky.
I get that, yeah, because it would seep to the ground, and it's filling the lake or something behind you, and if you're grabbing enough of it, which is crazy because nobody could be grabbing that much of it.
But isn't that weird? When I was doing this thing, it was just like, rainwater collection? If it's raining, I don't have the right to collect the rain?
I know, it's free and they want it all.
Wildlife hazards, alligators, snakes, bears. We do have all those.
Oh, and turtles and coyotes and buzzards and hawks and...
Okay, septic system regulations, limited medical access. Say you get hurt and you're in the middle of nowhere. Isolation, just being isolated might drive you crazy, Supply chain, if you need stuff, You know, there's so many things that could also go wrong living off the grid.
Well, you know what's weird? You see, you've probably seen this in your travels, driving around Florida in certain areas where you'll see like a homeless person or two. And especially if they're always on the corner, you know, panhandling for money. But you might see if there's like a wooded area close by, like the end of the day, they're going in there and they've built their little
encampment.
Yeah, encampment inside there. And Florida, like, I don't think that happens as much maybe going down south towards Miami and stuff like that.
I don't know.
But up here it does. I see a lot more of it up here. Not a lot of it, but I mean, I actually see it. Where I used to see a lot of that in Los Angeles, too.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of that.
But anyways, what do you guys think? You think Florida is one of the better spots to live off the grid if you want to like disappear and just disconnect from everything? Let us know what you guys think. Anyways, that's today's video. Do me a favor, watch this video right here. I picked it out just for you guys. I think you'll enjoy it very much. And do me a favor, subscribe. Just hit that one button. It'll take a second. And hit the bell notification and share this video. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.